Good evening and welcome to the New York Immigration Coalition's Road to Recovery video series. My name is Nora Melendez and I am the Immigrant Services Support Senior Events Associate and I will be your host. The NYC has put together a series of videos to share information and resources regarding economic recovery and resilience, remote learning, and social services to equip immigrant New Yorkers facing the challenges of dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we'll be hearing from various organizations that work to connect New Yorkers to the services and resources they need when considering childcare, housing, public benefits, English language learning programs, workforce development, and mental health services. Please remember, this is a public space. We want to make sure it's as safe as possible for everyone, so please refrain from sharing personal information. If you are seeking additional support, our contact information has been pinned in the comment section below. To start, I'd like to introduce New York City Council member Vanessa Gibson, who represents District 16, Claremont, Concourse, Concourse Village, Highbridge, Morris Heights, Mount Eden, and Morrisania in the Bronx, and is sponsoring this Road to Recovery event. Welcome, Council member. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. Good evening. Thank you to the New York Immigration Coalition. Welcome to our Road to Recovery Social Services Q&A. We are grateful that you have decided to join us this evening because this is going to be a very informative and productive event tonight. And we encourage all of you to share the information that you receive with others. The best weapon that we could have to protect ourselves as New Yorkers is education. And today's theme is social services. I am grateful to be here for our virtual event. In the past, my district office has worked very closely with the New York Immigration Coalition on many programs and many events in person, including our Key to the City events, which I love. It's a part of our City Council initiative that we've always funded and supported in the budget, as well as in-person Know Your Rights workshops to ensure that our immigrant communities throughout the 5 boroughs have access to vital resources and critical support. Now, as we continue to combat COVID-19 in our city a year later, it is even more imperative that we host these webinars and informationals to make sure that immigrant students and families have access to economic resources, remote learning, and other information around COVID-19 and updates on the vaccination, legal service and legal assistance programs, and other vital social services. A wealth of knowledge and experience on behalf of New York Immigration Coalition. I also want to highlight that my office remains a resource, and my team and I continue to operate remotely for our constituents Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. We schedule immigration appointments in partnership with CUNY Citizenship Now, who we've also been honored to work with over the years in the City Council, every Tuesday and every Thursday by appointment only. We have attorneys that speak English, Espanol, and French to assist the various needs of our diverse and linguistic community. We are also scheduling COVID-19 vaccine appointments in partnership with Essen Healthcare coming up next Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you want to be added to our list, please contact our office and my staff will assist you with that appointment. 718-588-7500, option 0. That's 718-588-7500, option 0. We still have a long way to go before a full recovery and a restoration to normalcy, although we know that we will never be normal the way we were prior to COVID. But if we continue to follow COVID-19 guidelines, I am very optimistic that brighter and better days lie ahead and we can return to some sense of normalcy in this city. I want to thank all of our essential workers, our first responders, and healthcare heroes and sheroes on the ground every single day, working day in and day out. All of our non-for-profits, human service providers, CBOs, community partners, everyone has had to work remotely in this world and this environment because we know the work must continue. Our clients, our constituents, and their families need our help like never before. I am greatly concerned about the trauma. That's why we've been talking about trauma-informed care and access to mental health and therapeutic services for many of our New Yorkers. Our healthcare workers, our educators, grocery store workers, social workers, doctors, physicians, public safety workers, transit workers, everyone, many of whom names we do not know. We recognize all of you for the incredible work, your commitment, your dedication, your compassion, and your conviction. I once again thank the entire staff at the New York Immigration Coalition. You've always been on the ground, and the City Council has been honored to work with you over the years. I thank you for having me tonight, and I look forward to our continued partnership together. Pa'lante. Gracias.
Thank you, Councilmember Gibson. We appreciate all your support and all the time you've always given our programs and the communities we serve. You have been on the ground with us, so we appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, now I would like to welcome our panelists. We'll be hearing from Iris, the Assistant Director of Community Empowerment, and Andres, the Community Empowerment Coordinator at Committee for Hispanic Children and Families, Gabriela, the Outcome Coordinator at Riverside Language Program, and Yuna, the Interim Assistant Mental Health Clinic Director at Korean Community Services, Metropolitan New York. As a reminder, this is a public space. We want to make sure it's safe as possible for everyone, so please refrain from sharing personal information. If you're seeking additional support, our contact information has been pinned in the comment section below, and we will be adding more comments as we go with relevant information. So Iris, I pass it over to you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, everyone. Iris Cabrera, I'm the Assistant Director of the Community Empower at CSCF. I'm here tonight with my colleague Andres. We're going to share with you guys some of the service that we provide. I'm going to start with some of the service, and then I will pass it to Andres. CSCA, we provide one-on-one consultation to anyone who would like to apply for affordable housing. We don't only help the community to apply for affordable housing, but we also teach them how to navigate all the system that we know that is complicated, because we want to make sure that they continue to apply. We also provide service for the community who's looking to apply for food stamps, Section 8, Medicaid, and some other programs like those who help senior and disability to pay the rent, like Scree and Dree. We do other service like immigration, Know Your Right, as well as you guys do, citizen workshop. But I'm going to pass it to Andres so he can do the other part of the service. Andres.
Good evening. Thank you for that introduction. I want to say thank you to NYIC for having us here tonight. Another one of the services that we offer here at CHCF is one-on-one consultations with parents in all 5 boroughs looking for childcare. We try to find something close to home, work, or their schooling. We also help with the application process of 3K on my schools, because we know it can get a little bit complicated. So yeah, if you have any childcare needs, you can reach us directly. Our number is at the bottom. For childcare specifically, you can reach out to me. My extension is 355, so you can see it right there at the bottom. Thank you.
And for any housing or social service, you can call me. My number is on the bottom as well. Thank you.
Thank you both. Gabriela, I'll pass it over to you in Riverside.
Thanks so much, Nora, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Gabriela McPherson, and I'm the Outcomes Coordinator for Riverside Language Program. Riverside Language Program is an immigrant integration center that provides free services and supports to recently arrived immigrant, asylum seeker, and refugee adults who are currently living in New York City. So we offer free full-time English classes which run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. every weekday for a course of 6 weeks. And we provide job readiness and digital literacy training. We also provide counseling and case management to assist our students with their career and educational goals, and to connect with a wide range of social services supports like childcare, housing, and other needs. Once you connect to Riverside, you are always a part of Riverside. We're a very strong community, so after students graduate from our program, we stay in touch with them through our alumni network, which I work closely with, and we continue to offer support through some formal programming like workshops, and in informal ways like helping alums find other programs or connecting with resources.
Great, thank you. And Yuna, please, welcome. Yuna?
Hi, so thank you again. My name is Yuna Yoon, and I am the Interim Assistant Director at Korean Community Services. So our mental health clinic is the first and only state licensed outpatient clinic providing bilingual therapy and medication management services targeting the Korean community. We are also growing our clinic to include other language services and even more immigrant and reach out to even more immigrant communities. The clinic is only 5 years old, but the organization is 48 years old with multiple locations and departments, from a senior center to adult daycare, and provides a wide range of services extending to the general public. So it ranges from COVID vaccinations to assistance with immigration. And as a result, anyone who comes to KCS who feels they need mental health services can be referred to the clinic. We accept Medicaid, Medicare, along with other insurances, and our policy is that anyone with a mental health issue must be seen, regardless of financial difficulty or immigration issues. So we offer a sliding scale, and we also have something called an angel fund to help people who can't afford it.
Thank you all for joining us. This is really helpful to know. And we do have a couple questions to get started. So Andres, I'll actually start with you. One of the big questions we've been hearing a lot from community members has been about childcare and the struggle to find childcare as work schedules are changing, as hours are different from what they used to be pre-pandemic. So how can someone find affordable childcare in their area?
So CHCF has recently become a network, a childcare network, which means we're working closely with 3K program and Early Learn in all districts in the Bronx. As of right now, it's just the Bronx. Hopefully we get to expand at some point. In regards to vouchers and subsidy, that would be a different agency, usually ACS and HRA. Can help with that, yes.
Awesome, thank you. And then in terms of housing, that's another big thing that we get a lot of questions are people are really struggling with not only finding affordable housing, but making sure that they find housing that they are qualified for, in particular Housing Connect. Edie, can you talk a little bit about what that is?
Correct. One of the things that I try to do is to educate the community, make sure that they understand the process. Sometimes people come to me and say, I've been applying for so many years and I never qualified for any apartment. So my part is educate the community and make sure that they understand the process, like what is your income, what style you qualify, because sometimes people apply for one-bedroom apartment and they're a family of 4. The income is like below 20 and the qualification is up $35,000. So we just explain all the process to the people who come to us and make sure that when they apply, they have, like I said, like a 200% the qualification, let's put it like that, to make sure that if they've been called for any of this development, they qualify. So I know it's hard, but it's a lot of new building there. So I always encourage the people to apply. It's free. You only, after you do your account, you're only gonna take like less than a minute to go into the page and apply for any affordable housing. So in the beginning, the first, when you complete the application, it's going to take you maybe 20 minutes, but after that, it's so easy. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer, and like I said, it's free. So there's hope.
There definitely is. Thank you. And Yuna, I'm actually going to pass it to you. And this is also touching on what the council member mentioned just on mental health resources and wellness. One of the things we routinely hear is that therapy is expensive. So where can community members find affordable mental health resources and services?
So as I mentioned in sort of a background of KCS, you can come to us. Part of, I think, the reason that this model worked is because we're just looking at mental health very holistically. Like we're saying that, you know, everyone, humans, like we all need to take care of our mental health. And that could be, you know, community-based. It can be mental health care isn't always mental health utilization with therapy. But then if at some point you reach that point where, you know, it's not going to be like working out or yoga or something like that, right? Like you find people, you find therapists, and you do it when you're in a community where you feel supported and you don't feel the stigma against it. So I think to just look at it holistically, it's basically creating a safe space for everyone overall in the community to say, like, this is something that's important for everyone, and anyone who can kind of put together a system to make it happen can create a place now that people can come. Yeah,
of course. And do you have any tips for how someone can approach that conversation about stigma with like their family regarding mental health?
So going back to mental health utilization versus taking care of our overall well-being, if people can just going back into my own story, my own experience as a Korean, like in our culture, we have something called healing, which is basically healing, or like well-being, which is well-being, right? And it's considered healing to go hiking, for instance, right? And in a way, it's like you're healthy by choosing a positive coping method. And I think finding something in your culture that people can relate to as this is something that is good for you, and then to be able to incorporate that into treatment is really effective at allowing everyone in the community, and especially people who do have, a pathology, who have a disorder, to be able to be included.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I know from my personal experience, like dance has been a really big outlet for us. So thank you. Gabriella, one of the questions that I got hearing from your introduction was about your English language learning program. So who can study at Riverside? Like, would I be eligible?
Thank you for asking that. To study at Riverside, we're actually pulling up here our website that lists our eligibility. So just to run through it really quickly, to study at Riverside, you must be at least 18 years old because this program does specifically serve adults. And you must be living in New York City. It can be any of the 5 boroughs. This is true both when we're in person and now that we're remote. We have traditionally pulled in folks from all 5 boroughs, even though we are located in Manhattan. And then you must be a refugee, asylee, or green card holder for less than 3 years, because we do target newly arrived immigrants. Or you can be in the process of applying for a humanitarian status or a green card. If you have any questions about whether your status qualifies, we really encourage you to reach out to us, and our office staff can go through that with you. We know it can be really complicated to try to figure out what your eligibility is there, so we're happy to talk through that with you if you have a question. And then finally, you must be able to participate in our classes full-time. We're actually the only completely free full-time language program in New York City, English language program. So our classes are Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For 6 weeks. So we do multiple cycles of 6 weeks throughout the year.
Awesome. So what is the application process like? Does it take a long time?
Sure, I can run through that with you. Riverside opens up its application for a few days before each class cycle. So the next time an application will be open will actually be from Wednesday, May 5th to Friday, May 7th. And we always have applications available in English and many other languages, so that it's easy for folks to fill out in whatever language they're most comfortable with. And then once you submit your application, someone from our staff will call you to double check that you're eligible, help you fill out any of our registration forms. We have some longer forms that are government forms, so we like to help folks with that directly. And then they will also call you to schedule your language level test. So we have a test that our students take before they start classes with us, and this is just to place you in the correct language level. So this test will happen a few days before classes start, and it will help us place you in levels either 1 through 5. So if you do end up testing too high for our classes, we can help you connect with another program. We have many partners that offer higher level classes, but there is really no way to test too low for our program because we do offer level 1 through 5.
That is great to hear, and such a valuable resource to share. And one question that, flipping this a little bit, but going to Iris and Andres, is about community empowerment, right? That is what your department is called. What does that mean? What is community empowerment?
Community Empower is a department that tries to empower the community, as the name says. So we are trying to educate and teach the community to be their own leader in the community. Like when we do a housing and application, the way that we do is we teach the person so they can do it on their own, so they can feel empowered. The same way when we do any workshop that know your right as an immigrant, know your right as a tenant, we want to educate the community so they can continue to educate other members of the community. So our goal is to build like an army to make sure that everyone in the community have the power to defend themselves and to do better for themselves.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Andres, do you have anything to add?
No, she covered it. That was great. Yeah.
Great. And then the other question we get quite frequently, especially with all the misinformation that came out with public benefits and public charge and the changing rules of public charge. So can we answer this? Are public benefits considered a public charge?
No anymore. Thank God we don't have that problem anymore. So please, if you are looking for any benefit like housing, food stamp, Medicaid, and you don't have any immigration status, go and apply. That will not affect you or any of your family member if you are looking to get your green card or you want to become a citizen in the future. So please, 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 I'm begging you to go and get any benefit that you need or your family will need in order to provide your family with home and food on the table.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so I am actually going to open it up to live questions from the audience. Everyone, please remember this is a public space. We want to make sure it's as safe as possible for everyone. So please refrain from sharing your personal information. In the comment section, our contact information has been pinned for every single organization present, as well as for ourselves at the NYIC. If you have any questions, please submit them in the comments and we will be answering them. So our first question, and Yuna, I think this one will be going to you, is are there specific mental health services available for children and adolescents?
Ages 13 and up. And so for that population, we do have services. And then we also have family therapy. So even if the child might not be there, the parents can have that. So essentially we're covering all groups, but the clients actually coming in are 13 and up.
Okay, great.
And there will be many resources available that I can send separately.
Of course, yeah, that would be much appreciated. And we'll make sure to drop them in the comment section post-stream so everyone can download them as well. So please make sure to come back and check in. Gabriella, what are some of the benefits of participating in your program?
Sure, that's a great question. And there are many benefits. So first, Riverside Language Program is absolutely free to all students. So that is a major benefit. And it is a full-time intensive program. Students are immersed in English for full days, 5 days a week. They're able to improve their English in 6 weeks to a level that might take months in some other part-time programs. Riverside also has the benefit of attracting a wide diversity of students, which reflects the diversity of their new home, New York City. So our students come from all over the world, and our staff has native speakers of Spanish, French, Arabic, Russian, Chinese, and Turkish. Our program also has a counselor case manager on staff to help students with their needs outside of just English language learning. with many other organizations to help students access food assistance, housing assistance, and many other services. We also provide guidance to students on their next steps after Riverside, whether it's connecting them to a job training program, helping them learn about the college application process, or just setting up students for financial success with some of our regular personal finance presentations. But my favorite thing about Riverside is that it is truly a community. Students make lifelong connections with their teachers and their classmates. I've seen it in our students. Almost all of our office staff are actually former Riverside students, so you can see how strong that connection is. And we maintain really strong bonds with many of our alumni.
That's great. Community is so important, and being able to find that as a newly arrived immigrant is a wonderful thing to be able to share. So we're happy to hear that. Another question we have, and this one I think Edis and Andres will be going to you, will be, will I be considered a public charge if I receive a stimulus check? I know you talked about that a little bit.
No, definitely no. I don't think, well, like I mentioned before, public charge is not there anymore. We don't have to worry about that. So that incentive was for you, so you don't have to pay back. So don't feel afraid that they're gonna come back and say, because you take this benefit, you will not be able to apply for citizen or to apply for becoming a citizen or resident. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is no.
Okay, thank you. And then one follow-up question I think we have is, where would you recommend someone who recently became eligible for TPS to seek help in applying for TPS?
And that would be for us?
Yes.
For what? Oh, for food stamp, you mean?
For TPS, for immigration, the temporary protected status, if the new immigration.
Okay, so you can call us to our number, and we contact you to one of our lawyers. We work with other organizations that we provide immigration clinic where we provide service free. So, and we will contact you to, or we contact the person to an immigration lawyer.
Perfect, thank you. And then Yuna, we have a question. You mentioned mental health utilization. Can you share examples of mental health utilization?
So when we think of mental health services, that would be therapy, medication management, hospitalization, right? Anything that does involve something where you're encountering systems. Whereas if we were looking in a more collaborative sense, it would be something like community care, communities like spaces, right? Or just what people broadly define as self-care. But there's no, there's a lot of overlaps between these things. And so the idea is that we should, coming back to our humanity, right? Like, see the big spectrum of all the different ways that this pandemic has been affecting us in our very specific communities, but also in our individual identities and collectively, right? And how those specific things will require different mental health interventions. So whether you consider it intervention or, healing or well-being, right? Like, how do you take these ideas of utilizing support and incorporating them into a way that's really tailored for you? I think that's one message, hopefully, that like breaking apart all these like monolith, like immigrant, like diversity, like all the language around that, is that each organization can do their part to really create that equity and an environment where we're all promoting that for one another. So I think that's not exactly mental health utilization, but I think that's one of the things that should be a big part of how we look at mental health utilization.
Yeah, definitely. It's a part of the conversation, right? And the way that we all build community and how that community interacts with others, and how they all can empower one another. So, very much thank you for sharing that. Another question that we have here is, Gabriella, I think this one is for you. Can you share again when the next 6-week course is open?
Sure, that will be, and we just had it up on the screen earlier. So that will be so applications will open, thank you. Applications will open Wednesday, May 5th. So that's probably the most important date for you to know, because once you apply, we will be following up with you and making sure that you know all the next steps. And then the other most important date is that classes start on May 18th through June 29th. So those are the actual class dates. But to apply, you should check our website starting Wednesday, May 5th, and it'll be open through that Friday.
That is awesome. And these, they open up routinely, right?
Yes, so this will be the last one of the last 6-week cycle of this school year. We take a brief summer break, and we'll be announcing actually within the next week or so on our website the schedule for next school year, which will start either late August or September. So this will be the last one for this school year, but please stay in touch with us because we do this every year. We've been doing it for a really long time, and we get really great results for students and, again, build that community.
Awesome. Iris, this one I think is going to go back to you about housing. Are you able to help anyone who has a housing court case?
Unfortunately, no, because I'm not a lawyer. I was a tenant organizing for a long time. I can advise you what to do, but I will also, as well, connecting you with one of the other organizations who have a lawyer, and they will go with the person to court.
Awesome. So you can connect them
So
to someone
again,
else.
the person wanted to get in contact with me. I will check the case. I will advise the person, but I will refer the person to a lawyer because I'm not a lawyer.
Perfect. That is great to know that you still can serve as a contact to bridge that gap, right? And Andres, in terms of childcare, are there childcare options for parents who work late at night? Or is there only childcare for traditional work hours?
So that's depending on the child care provider. So what we do is we gather the information of the parent, make sure we have everything correct. And when we send the referral, it's usually a list of 20 programs. And it would be up to the parent to reach out to the provider and ask what the scheduling is like. And because the provider, it's technically their business, they choose their hours of care.
But I will say yes because there's a lot of providers who run the program 24/7. So yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
yes.
Awesome, thank you. And Yuna, this one is also going back to you, but how to deal with the way social media impacts well-being?
Yeah, such an important question. Thank you for that. I thank you for all the other questions. With so many other things where people say, you know, part of self-care sometimes to step back from things, there is definitely space for that to happen. At the same time, you can't kind of avoid the internet and social media. And one thing that might help is to think of it as being part of the solution. So how can we, in a way, by just as people have experienced so much racial trauma or like grief and loss, collective pandemic trauma, right? Like there's so much of this fire in people. So how can you channel that and so there had been so many movements as a result of that, right? And so being part of that solution is one way that social media can be used so that you feel empowered and you have community. So some of the ways I've seen people do this is obviously through the hashtags, right? So there's a sense that just as much as it can negatively impact your well-being, it can be a way to kind of channel healing and find solutions to the impact that you're having, to the negative things that are shaping things these days.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's a matter of changing the way we use it, right? Like stepping back from the accounts that aren't making us feel great and following ones that do, and making sure we are checking in with ourselves as that happens. It's a reminder I need to give myself quite often. So thank you for sharing it. Okay, and I think we are getting pretty on time right now. So I want to ask all of you, maybe we'll start with Edis and Andres first. If community members have more questions, where should they go?
Well, if anyone have more questions regarding to housing or any other service that we provide, they can contact us at 212-206-1090. My extension is 310, and Andres' extension is Andres?
355 for childcare specific.
But before we go, I just wanted to say this too. I know it's a lot of family who are desperate, looking for childcare, looking for service. It's a lot of programs. They are open. I guess they are on the confuser because the school is closed. Most of the programs are closed. That is a no. We have a lot of programs that right now are seeking for children. So please, if you are looking for any program who can take care of your children, contact us. We will help you in Spanish and English. It will be for free, and you can contact on Monday to Friday from 9 to 5.
That is great to hear, because I think childcare is a really big concern, even for parents who are working remotely. So thank you so much for sharing. Yuna, what about you?
So you can reach KCS at 718-366-9540. You can email us at kcsmhc@kcsny.org. And you can visit our website at www.kcsny.org for more about our programs.
Awesome. And Gabriella, I pass it over to you as well.
Thank you. So I think there's a slide as well. But you can call us at 212-662-3200. We are not in the office right now, so it will go straight to voicemail, but someone will call you back from our staff very quickly if you call that number and leave a voicemail. You can also email us at info@riversidelanguage.org. We have our website, which I was showing you before, to see the eligibility information there. And then we have our Facebook and Twitter accounts listed here too. So feel free to stay connected with us through that as well.
Thank you all. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been really, really beneficial and very valuable. I know it's much appreciated. And I know it's a rainy Thursday, so I appreciate you all taking the time to join us. Our next video will be on Monday, April 19th, right here on Facebook Live. We are going to be partnering with NIMIC and discussing the resources and services available for tenants seeking rent relief or assistance. To stay involved with the New York Immigration Coalition, as well as KCS, HCF, and Riverside, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. If you have any questions or concerns, if we did not get to your answer to your question, our contact information is pinned in the comment section below, so please feel free to reach out directly. We also have information for immigration legal referrals, as well as other resources available. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay safe, take care, and enjoy your evening, everyone.
Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.